if that's you, if you're my soulmate, get in touch, slide into the DMs.
Slide into Florence's DMs, please. You're listening to Fucks Given.
The one about love bombing. Hello, Reed.
Hi, Florence. How we doing today?
It's been a wild ride for me the last couple of weeks. And I will get into it.
Oh, it juicy. But before that, I'm going to tell you about an exciting update, which is...
Yeah,
which I'm very excited. I'm excited to tell you guys. Although not sounding that excited going into this.
I was just going to say that didn't sound very exciting.
Yeah, I think I'm getting like a wave of potential COVID exhaustion.
Reed, you literally just got back from Ibiza, right?
Yes. Got back from Ibiza. One of the girls in the group has COVID, so I don't know whether I'm like psychosomatic symptoms right now. If I actually have COVID, we will find out soon enough. I got some tests, so I'll be okay. I'll test myself later. Bringing the sexual energy right now, because I am really excited to tell you this update. I did some fancy, I don't know why it's fancy, but naughty public. So fancy. I got that fancy poussoir over here. Did some naughty public stuff with Jacob, which was fucking loads of fun.
God.
And I think if anyone's seen the Instagram update about date night and seen the video, like some people clocked it, some people didn't.
Oh my God, I didn't see that.
You didn't clock it in the video?
What video?
A couple of people commented. So like in the carousel of pictures, I think there's like the last video, someone clocked it and they literally wrote a comment. Oh, woof woof, little doggos.
Just an FYI, I am dog sitting and so there might be dog background noises every so often. That's
okay.
A little bit badly behaved.
That's okay. I love doggos so much. Oh. And there's little doggos. I swear, small dogs are my kryptonite. The smaller, the more kryptonite they are. I swear to God.
Know. Okay. So in the carousel, there was a video.
Yeah, there's a video of me standing outside having a cigarette, and I'm there like
I saw that.
I'm there having a moment.
Oh,
yeah. And I'm trying to keep fucking calm. Okay, so
I just thought you were like giddy and in love and like being stupid and like, you know, like how it is young love.
I was like trying to grab the remote away from him while he's filming me.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, stop! We're outside! What are you doing? Like freaking out.
Oh my God. How was that? And what did it feel like to have the vibration whilst you were out in public?
Well, yeah, for those who might not have clocked it by now, we used a remote control vibrator and went to my favorite bar and just had some fun doing that. I mean, it's very complicated because, you know, like when you have a fantasy and the fantasy is so perfect in your head, and when you're actually in reality, when you're actually faced with real people, real distractions, things don't go perfectly. Like we ended up using 3 different remote control toys because the first 2 were really temperamental. But the whole thing itself was so much fucking fun. We got a couple drinks, had some food. I popped this toy in, and it was one of our favorite ones, like the Lalo, is it Soraya one? The pink one, the G-spot massaging one,
the one that actually fucking moves inside you. Oh, yes. My God, that is not a toy to use in public because it feels so good.
It's so invasive, and so like my face was just bright red and smiling the whole fucking time. And so like, going to the toilet, popping that in, making sure I had really tight underwear on, wearing like a tight dress on, looking fucking amazing. Also, I had to triple check that you couldn't see the vibe outside of the dress. You know, like when you're like, I had to put the whole outfit on, put the toy in and be like, okay, yeah, you can't see it. But shit me, I couldn't walk normally because it like, you kind of walk like you shut yourself a little bit. I was like John Wayne all over the place.
That is so funny.
And so yeah, that was in. And that was so good, but it was app controlled. And that was the temperamental part. It kept disconnecting. So we got really pissed off about it. We were like, okay, let's just move on to the next one. Oh, actually, no, we didn't use 3 toys. I bought 3 toys. I bought 2 as backup.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to fuck around.
Yeah, that's a good tip, actually. If you want to get into doing public stuff, bring backups because, yeah, like you said, there's always technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties, or the remote and the battery runs out. Ended up using, I think it was the Satisfier. I'm not sure which one it is exactly, but it's kind of C-shaped. Part of it goes inside you, part of it is on your clitoris, and it has like an actual physical remote, which I thought was going to be better for connection, and it fucking was, but the radius was interesting because it stopped working outside of a certain radius. So at one point in the night, I ran away from him to try and make sure he didn't press it on. He managed to press it on, and I ran away, and I was like, no, turn it off. And he was like trying to turn it off, and he, it wouldn't turn off. And I was like, shit, I need to get back. I need to get back closer. So yeah, that was really fucking fun. And I almost feel like everyone knew. Everyone fucking knew.
I don't think they did. I mean, I saw those pictures and the video and didn't have a donkey's arse.
Didn't clock. Okay, no. That's good. That's good to know. But I must have gone to the toilet like, I don't know, like 10 times or something in a very short space of time because I was trying to like make the first toy work, disconnecting, reconnecting, like having to connect it to the app. And I guarantee, I swear that as I was coming out the toilets one time, there was a couple looking and being like, I know, like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe not, maybe. We were also playing the We're Not Really Strangers sex game, the XXX game. That was really fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like playing around with that was really good. Yeah, lots of games, lots of like fucking around, lots of me squealing. There's a lot of squealing, but trying to keep it under wraps. I don't know 100% if I would have been able to come because the distractions were so right. Like there's so much noise going on, especially if a waiter comes over and like Jacob's like pressing the button and I'm there like, oh, can I get a margarita, please? Like,
I don't think I could come in public like that.
No, I almost feel like the only way to come in public, you need something so strong like a wand or a Sibian or something like heavy duty.
Yeah.
And I don't think remote controlled toys have got up to the standards of having that much of a powerful remote yet. Yeah. We're going to get there though, I'm sure. Hopefully we're going to get there.
Definitely. You can give your like research to the apps and to the companies.
Yeah, I'm going to have to like send some feedback. It's going to have to be like a whole like chastity belt wearing device to hold something so heavy in.
Yeah. Well, you can get super lightweight ones. Like is it the We Vibe? I think it's a We Vibe that we got once.
Yes.
It has an actual magnet to keep it in your knickers.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
But it's so like small as a vibrator that I don't think it would really. I mean, I'm sure it's great for a lot of people, but like if you needed a more powerful vibration, I'm not sure if you would get it.
And when I'm on my own, I don't. But when I'm surrounded by busy and like public, and actually even when I'm playing with a partner, I need something to really focus me. Yeah. If it's too light, I'm not focusing on that sensation. My brain's all over the place. I can't believe you had
that Lalo toy inside you in public, because like I, for real, when I tried that toy was like, whoa, what the fuck this feel? And like I was coming immediately. Like it was so fucking intense.
Yeah, we would, I mean, this is an ad, like, this is not sponsored by Lalo, but it's a very good toy if you really enjoy G-spot stimulation and clitoral stimulation. Yeah. But it's fucking pricey. Lalo's toys are stupidly pricey.
Yeah, sex toys are very expensive.
But you know us, we'd always recommend the wand, always. Doxy wand, or Hitachi, now that Florence is in LA.
Got the Hitachi magic wand, it's doing wonders. Although I think I have gotten to a point where I'm like, I need to wean off it like a little bit, because I think
really?
I mean, not that it fucking matters now, but like if I'm like having frequent sex and I want to experience more internal pleasure, then I would probably wean off it a little bit so that I could feel more, because my brain gets trained.
Yes, we don't believe in like physical desensitization, but you can get really used to a certain way to come, and it can make it a lot harder to orgasm when that certain pattern that you do isn't there, which most of the time happens with partnered sex.
Yeah, it's definitely more about your brain.
Yeah, it's for sure about the brain. So yeah, it's good to check in with yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really fun, really enjoyable experience.
That was fun.
And yeah, if you want to check out the Instagram post where I'm
shuffling.
I put all the videos.
Repost that. We need to repost that on the Come Curious page.
Yeah, I put all of the videos on OnlyFans. Like, they're all there to see. You? So if you want to see the hot ones,
that's a really good idea. I have to take the podcast on a bit of a nosedive in tempo.
Oh, I'm so sorry about this. Like, a little bit of like anger came out then as like a precursor to what's been going on.
This is very, very fresh, and I know that I still have quite fresh feelings and emotions about it, but I shared a little bit about it on Instagram yesterday, and it really made me feel a little bit better about it, especially hearing that this same experience has happened to a lot of people. So I do want to open up. But I guess basically what's interesting is that I did actually talk about this guy in last week's episode of the podcast, but I kindly asked my producer to remove what I had said, because I just felt embarrassed talking about someone in such a positive way, like it was going somewhere, when the flip reverse has kind of happened. So I guess I want to start from the very beginning, which was I matched with someone on Field who I thought was incredibly attractive, and we had that kind of instant chemistry where texting is really fun and really easy, and you just want to be like texting them all day, every day, like here and there. And we arranged to go on a date, but before the date, we hopped on the phone with each other a couple of times, and like the phone calls were really sweet. He was very forward and very like, you know, straight away he was just like, I love that you know what you want, and like I really want a relationship too, and all of these things. So basically he was saying everything that I had wanted someone to say to me for a really long time, and it felt I think I even journaled about it in that teenage girl kind of way. Like, I've just matched with someone that feels like they could potentially be like my person. And in my journal, I was just like, that feels really crazy to say, but it's just this weird feeling that I have. And I think partly that was because of like the language that he was using at the beginning was very like intoxicating, very forward, very like very positive. And I hadn't had that experience for quite a long time, and it felt really amazing to feel wanted in that way. We met up for our first date on the Thursday, and the first date ended up being 7 hours long. And when I look back on it, like when I was in the midst of it, I was like, wow, this is so amazing. Like, instant chemistry. As soon as I saw him, I was just like, wow, like I really like this person. Like, he just gave me this like the biggest smile, immediately made me feel really comfortable, really at ease. And we went for matcha, sat down. Now when I'm looking back at it, I'm like, this is probably suspect behavior, but he started like touching and holding my hand probably like within 30 minutes of the date.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And at the time I was like, I remember feeling like, ooh, this is very fast. But like, he made me feel very safe and very like seen. And almost like when I was sitting there with him, I was like, it feels like I know you already. Like, and that feels quite weird and nice. And then the date just turned into like a really lovely date where we like walked around Little Tokyo in downtown and went out for food, and then we kissed after the restaurant, and it was like instant chemistry. Like, he was a really good kisser. And then we were walking around some more and he was holding my hand. It was like very like PDA straight away. And I love PDA, and I've always wanted a relationship that is like that, where someone's just like so obsessed with you that they want to make out and like touch you everywhere. But so in retrospect, I'm like, that was all too much too soon for a first date. But at the time, I was like, wow, like, he's giving me everything that I've always wanted in a relationship. And I've not even had to ask for it or like say anything or communicate that. And we ended up going to the cinema, making out in the cinema, and he kept kissing my forehead, which I feel is like kryptonite for me. If someone kisses my forehead, I feel like so safe, so held, so like loved. And he told me in the cinema, he was just like, wow, like, I'm already smitten with you. And we were just like making out.
Fucking hell. Was this second date or same date?
This was the first date.
First date.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And I was like madly thinking like, wow, I feel the same way. Like, kind of like swept up in this kind of excitement of someone really wanting me and feeling like that towards me so quickly. And then we arranged to meet on the Sunday, but then got a message from him the next day saying that he couldn't wait to see me. So we ended up going on a second date the day after, and he bought me flowers. And I was whoa, like, no one ever buys me flowers. This guy is so nice. Like, and I honestly, we just had such a great time. And he was like, wow, like, we're such a hot couple. You know, like, everyone was looking at us in the restaurant. Like, loads of affirmation about us being like really hot together. And like, yeah, like a thing, like immediately. And I could see it too. I was like, yeah, we look hot together. This feels really great. Like, I could see this going somewhere. So I kind of just like went for it. And then we ended up that second night just in the back of my car making out. And you know what? When I think back, I felt a little bit overwhelmed at that point. Like, ooh, this is quite a lot, and he's quite a lot. And like, do I actually like this? And I remember feeling like a little bit like wobbly about it, but I also didn't want to like take myself away from this amazing experience that was happening with this really hot guy. So we arranged to go and see a meteorite shower in Joshua Tree on the Sunday. I hesitantly agreed to like get an Airbnb because I was like, should we do this? Is it like a little bit too much to like go out and like stay a night together when we've only just met? And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to do it. And so we went out to Joshua Tree on the Sunday. So we've almost seen each other 3 days in a row, apart from one in between. And honestly, like, he held my leg and my hand in the car whilst I was driving. He was a passenger princess, and I had like just asked the universe for my passenger princess. So I was like, oh my God, everything's coming into place. I'm such a powerful manifester, you know? And he was just doing all the things, like being so touchy, so tactile, all the things that I want in a relationship. He was there. And it felt like when we were in Joshua Tree, we were in the jacuzzi, and I fully felt like, I was like, this doesn't feel real. It feels so much like a dream. And I was just like, I guess my body was just like whizzing with like adrenaline and happy hormones and chemicals. And it was like, it was like I was high for sure.
Yes.
Like I was on
and like the
Molly.
not sleeping the not eating, the waking up in the middle of the night, waking up early, not going to sleep properly. Like, it's all so fucked. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was happening throughout the whole first week. I couldn't even sleep. I was so excited about this person.
Yeah.
Like, I was waking up in the middle of the night, looking at my phone, you know, just in case he had messaged and I hadn't seen it. And like waking up in the morning, like at 6 a.m. some days, because I was just like so excited to lead another day feeling this happy, because I hadn't felt like that in such a long time. So fully high, fully addicted.
Yeah. The addiction, I feel that.
You know, I even said to him, I was like, you're such a nice guy. I had a phone call with my mum about him. And I was like, this guy is so nice. There has to be something wrong with him. There has to be something wrong with him. He must have a small penis. You know, like that kind of like trying to find like whatever, you know, and everything just ended up being so perfect. I was like, wow, his dick's the perfect size. He goes down on me like in a really great way. He eats me out on my period. Like all of these things that it was like things on my checklist just kept getting ticked off, like one by one after another. And I just started falling in love with this person just so quickly. And I started feeling all the love feelings so quickly.
Which isn't a bad thing to fall and feel those feelings that quickly. Like we as humans inherently fall into those patterns. Like love is something we all want and desire. Yeah. And it's not a bad thing. You haven't done anything wrong by feeling and falling for somebody.
Yeah. And after this weekend, I was positive that this was my person. That I had met this amazing person that I was going to be in a relationship with. He was validating all of those thoughts. He was very forward in calling us like a couple, and saying that, you know, he was like, I'm ready. He's like, I'm ready to be committed. I'm like fiercely loyal and like, I'm ready. I'm just ready for that.
You spoke about like moving in together. You fucking met his mother, for God's sake. Like, what the hell?
Well, yeah, we were talking about like going to London and like him visiting, and he was, you know, he was like, yes, I will do the OnlyFans content with you. Yes, I will do like vlogs with you. And I was like, wow, oh my God, I've never had anyone that wants to do all of these things with me and accepts me for who I am. And like his mum's a sex and relationships therapist and life coach. And I'm like, wow, could this person be any more perfect? Like he must be amazing if that's his mother. And then on the later end of the next week, he was like, I've got a question for you. My mum would like to meet you tomorrow. Would you want to go out for dinner with my mum? And I was like, yeah, of course. Like, oh my God, of course. Like his mum was only in town for another week. So it felt like, yeah, like, because this felt so sure. It felt so like, yeah, we've spoken about moving in together and all of these things. I was just like, of course I'll meet your mum. And then obviously that went really well. He was holding my hand like throughout the whole dinner, like across the table, like in front of his mum. And just, it was like, you know, like doe eyes at me the whole time. And then after the dinner, he took me to see like a view. You know how I'm a sucker for fucking like vista points.
The romantic views.
Yeah. All the fuckboy moves that I love and enjoy doing to other people. And then we ended up accidentally spending a whole weekend plus a couple of days with each other because a hurricane hit LA. But not only was there a hurricane and we were stuck inside, he got COVID and then gave me COVID. So we were both ill in bed together when we'd only just started dating for 3 full days in bed together. And it started off so well. Like, it started off really, really well. Like, it was just, like, the same, like, that love, like, staring in each other's eyes, like, giggling all the time, like, being funny, joking around. He made me matcha in the morning, and I was like, oh, my God, this guy. And then slowly, towards the end of the time, I was like, something's changed. Like, but even though something had changed, he was still being like, you know, like, I really like you a lot. but like it feels like we've just been thrown into this like boyfriend and girlfriend dynamic so quickly, and I just feel a little bit overwhelmed. Like, let's just take our time, like labeling things and like, you know, saying those kind of things, because I was ready to say I fucking love you to him.
Yeah.
So ready. Like I was feeling it in my heart, and I think I was even doing that thing where I was like saying it in my head, you know, and like before you say I love you to someone, you say it in your head to them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, know that one very well.
Yeah. You're like, oh my God, I love you. But you're like, you can't say it physically.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that won't leave my lips, but I'll say it 1,000 times in my head to you.
Yeah. You're just sitting there dumb grinning at them like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And then suddenly it got to Tuesday and I was like, something has massively shifted. And like, even though we both have COVID and we're supposed to be isolating, I'm like, really? I feel like I was like, I would want to stay with him for the rest of like isolation and just like hang out and like have fun and all of that. But he suddenly was like very much like he needed his own space. And I was like, okay, you know, that's fine. We just spent like a long time together, and I'll leave or go home and isolate at home. And then from that point, we kind of had a conversation about slowing things down. And I was like, this is fine. Like, this is healthy. This is like a mature adult decision. Slow things down. This makes sense. Because we have just got swept away in this whirlwind, and then we got ill together, and that was like a weird circumstance. But as soon as I left his house that Tuesday, I had this weird feeling when I was saying goodbye to his dog that I was like, I don't think I'm going to come back here. Just in the back of my head, and I was like, it doesn't mean anything, you know, like it doesn't mean anything. Even though my gut is so good at reading situations that I always need to trust my gut and like hear myself. And then he just changed. He stopped the good morning texts, stopped the good night texts, stopped calling me in the morning, because he was calling me every morning, every evening, throughout the day. We'd have like hour conversations in the middle of the day on the phone. So so it went from being like this full on like boyfriend character, probably like too intense if like you were going to you couldn't sustain that, but to someone that like didn't even seem that interested in me anymore. And like, it just felt like he didn't care. Like his tone changed on the phone, where it was just very like mellow. He wasn't cracking jokes. He wasn't trying to make me laugh anymore. And I turned in on myself during this time. And I was like, wow, oh my God, what have I done? You know, I was too much. I was too clingy. I gave him too much love too quickly. And like, obviously that's very overwhelming for someone that's like usually dating unavailable people. Like, and I've just given him it all at once. And like, of course, like I'm so stupid. And I was like, I just hate myself for getting myself like doing that, you know, like why did I do that? And why did I take things so quickly? And like taking things so quickly has ruined the whole thing for me. And then obviously I just got super anxious that I was just like, wow, I'm not desired, I'm not wanted, I'm not hot enough, I'm not good enough for him. And like things never work out for me. That's just like the narrative that I've always had. It's just like things don't work out for me. So obviously this isn't going to work out. And I tried so hard to ignore all those things and feel like positive about it. But 2 days ago, I got the text from him that I was expecting at some point that was just like, hey, you know, with everything that's happened, I've just realized that I'm not ready for a relationship right now.
Yeah, and a fucking text. Like, I am so angry about that. After everything in a short space of time you've been through, a goddamn text message. That's just so indicative of somebody being exceedingly immature, not being able to talk and process their emotions properly, and just going avoidant mode. I'm going to drop this text message. Same with like ghosting. It's like on the same breath as ghosting, just texting somebody like, I'm done with this. No full conversation.
And I noticed the next day that he'd unfollowed me on social media and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, cool. Like, just dropped. Like from someone literally saying that they wanted to move in with me and like be in a relationship to me and saying that they were ready for a relationship. I really felt very like led into falling in love with him. He even accidentally said I love you in certain weird ways in conversations where it like kind of slips out, like, oh, I was, like saying to a friend and I was just like, this is why I love her, and like stuff like that, and I was like, and all of those times I was like, it's just a slip of the tongue and like he doesn't actually mean it. But when someone keeps doing those kind of things, you feel loved and you feel like, wow, like he feels these things towards me. And it would always be like, instead of just being like, wow, I really like that about you, it'd be, I really love that about you. I love your smile. I love your body. I love this. I love that about your job. Like using the word love excessively, so much so that you'll start internalizing that word and start feeling that word as well. Because I remember there was a few times where at the beginning where he said he loved something about me and I would reply, yeah, I really like that about you. Because I wasn't ready to say those things like so immediately. But if someone makes you feel comfortable enough, he also started calling me baby and baby girl. Like he named me baby girl in his phone before we even went on our first date, like Florence baby girl. And then he would be telling me how much he was talking to his friends about me and like how he was like giddy and like they were like so excited for him and all of that. And I told
what the fuck is
many of my friends about him.
Yeah, of course you would. Like, why wouldn't you? You're excited about something. You're excited about someone. It felt extremely real. Everything that he was doing made it feel real. Of course you're going to talk about it. It would be fucking weird if you weren't going to talk about it and like be happy and be excited. The fact that this guy has just, like, what the fuck has happened? Like, why has he just suddenly switched? And that wouldn't be anything that you've done. It would be something that's going on inside of him that he's, like, literally jump bolted and freaked.
I mean, if we put our therapist caps on, it would definitely be something to do with him being, like, scared of, like, one, being loved, two, commitment, and, like, pretending that he was there when he just isn't and he hasn't done the self-work and wasn't able to face. Because I feel like you can be scared of those things, but you can be like, I'm going to face this because you need to work through it to get through it, kind of thing. Yeah. Like, I'm scared of those things too, but if I really like someone, I'm going to work through it with them.
And you've put in the time and effort to work through it. You actually see a fucking therapist. And any time that something comes up, you don't avoid it. You actually talk about it and ask your friends for opinions and like really do a deep dive. You fucking journal about shit like that. I would be so fucking surprised if he's doing any of that right now. I also, in the breakup text, he said, yeah, I'm really not ready for like this boyfriend and girlfriend dynamic, in brackets, check-ins. I was like, you're not ready for check-ins? Like, wait, what?
Like a mature part of a relationship in any stage, you don't want to check in with that person and see if they're okay or like if things are good. Check-ins are like fucked. It is fucked. It's like, oh, you're not ready to be a mature adult.
Because you need to have check-ins when you're going, but you need to have check-ins all the way through a relationship. Beginning, middle, end, like everything. It is so important. Check-ins are important. We have check-ins, for fuck's sake. All of my healthy relationships check in about fucking everything.
Yeah. And I also wonder, like, looking back at it, well, I know that this is textbook love bombing, but I don't think people do love bombing on purpose. I think it's like a subconscious thing.
So I want to read out the definition of what love bombing is, because I feel like we have a responsibility with our podcast to really be clear about the definition of love bombing, including the other terms that a lot of the time we throw around at the end of a relationship, because it's, as much as this, it looks like textbook love bombing, it might not be, it might be something similar. Okay, so interestingly enough, here the online dictionary, Oxford Dictionary, says the action of practicing of lavishing somebody with attention or affection, especially in the order to influence or manipulate them. Cults often use this tactic, like love bombing, to lure new members. So when I've read it before, I read this in The Selfish Romantic, where she really states like what some of these terms are, like what trauma actually means. Like love bombing. And she was saying that it has to be a very, what's it called? It's a specifically designed tactic to lure someone in, like what cults use. But then this Oxford Dictionary definition, it does just sound like somebody lavishing you with attention to manipulate and get what they need. And whether or not they're subconsciously doing that or not, it's so hard to tell. Like, we won't be able to know that. Probably they don't even know that.
Because I feel like you could manipulate... Yeah, you can manipulate someone to get what you want without really knowing it as well. Because obviously you're just like,
people do that all the time.
I want this, so I'm just gonna... And it feels very natural to like behave in a certain way around that.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you've been brought up by people that are used to emotional manipulation, then doing the same thing to other people, just like you're just copying what your parents did to you.
Yeah.
So of course that you don't know that you're manipulating. Like I have definitely manipulated in my relationships before. You know, like think about how many times we've had an argument with somebody and then burst into tears because we've been backed into a corner, we can't say our side. That might not necessarily be manipulation. It might be the fact that you can't get your point across and you're not being heard, but also using crying as a manipulation technique to stop the argument and for somebody to feel sorry for you. I've definitely done that, like throughout my life, and recognizing now that that's not fucking okay to do. It's really highly manipulative. Yeah. So we just need to be super careful because again, there's such a fine line of doing it on purpose to doing it subconsciously and not realizing you're doing it.
I don't think he did it on purpose, but I just feel like I can't believe I've gone from liking someone so much to disliking them so much.
Yeah.
Like it's
been a real jump.
So I just feel like I've been literally thrown into a hurricane and tossed out of it. Like I feel bruised. I feel wounded. Like I've been in a fight or something. Like the highs of the adrenaline and then just being like let down so massively, especially when I was so vulnerable with him, telling him about, you know, the things that have like trigger me in relationships about being abandoned and like feeling like, you know, that I'm not good enough and that things don't work out for me and stuff like that. And like, he's literally just done exactly that. So his 180 was like, it was just so triggering for me. It was so upsetting. Yeah. I was very, very upset about everything last week. Before he'd even ended things, I was like, I just knew something was coming and that something had changed, and I was really going through it.
Yeah, you were losing your mind last week. Like, literally losing your mind. It's so shitty how these situations, again, make us internalize and make us blame ourselves, and we pick apart ourselves and we think like, I could have done this, I should have done this, instead of literally going, it was all them. It was fucking them. Like, why are we the ones that end up getting stuck and like end up suffering and hurting ourselves over something that somebody just hasn't been mature enough to have a proper conversation about? It's so fucked. And I'm sure there are so many people listening to this that can relate, that can feel this overwhelming sense of like, finally, like I've got something that's real, and then having it ripped away from you. And that can be really damaging and really hard to come back from.
What it does is it affects your ability to trust in people coming into your life.
Yeah.
And I think what I feel so annoyed about is that I was like, wow, this is what happened with my dude guy at the end of last year, where I got swept up into these things. He was saying all these things about me wanting me to move in and seeing me pregnant with his children and like all those big things. And then suddenly just like, oh, he's changed his mind.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, how has this just happened again? Like when it felt way more right this time than it did that time. And it's, I don't know. I just feel like it really affects the way that I feel about myself, and just like, why does this keep happening to me? And like, why do I not get to experience relationships that are good and healthy?
Healthy relationships
I've never had a good one. Never had a good one. Maybe like my second proper boyfriend was like the healthiest relationship I ever had. But that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And we need to also take that responsibility and put in that work to like see those fucking signs and not get so caught up with like the shitty love side of things that makes us like not really care about the toxic traits, or like, we, you know, not the people pleasing part where we go like, oh, that's fine, like everything's fine, and actually put down those boundaries, being like, no, I'm not okay with this. I'm not fucking okay with this.
And I know that in retrospect, I can see the moments where I felt slightly uncomfortable with how quick things were going, and I didn't say anything. And I just like decided to lean into it rather than read the room and be like, hey, we should take this slower. And like, you know, this is a lot. You know, every single time you learn something, and it has definitely, I guess it's definitely just come home about like just taking things slow.
Yeah, which is so hard to do when you feel those feelings. You don't want to take them slow. As horrible as this situation has been, what would you say are the key points that you've learnt from this experience?
1, listen to your gut the whole time. 2, take things slow. Don't start calling someone baby in the first week. Don't couplize yourself in the first week. Don't talk about being with someone in the first week. It sounds fucking crazy when I say it out loud. But the main thing is to just take it slow enough so that you can see who the real person is. Because I think now I've stepped back and I'm not in the rose-tinted goggles phase. I'm seeing a lot of things about him that I'm like, oh, would I have actually wanted to be in a relationship with this person? And then obviously when you're like in that love mode, you're like, yeah, everything's fine. I'll put up with that. I'll put up with this. You know, I can change how I feel about this. So yeah, I think it's really seeing things for what they actually are and being in reality rather than being swept away in the hyperfixation. And I think if you're prone to hyperfixation like I am, it's imperative to take things slow, because you're not going to see the real person if you just go full blown into it.
Yeah, you can't see the real person. You can't know the real person in just a week or even a month. It needs time. It's okay to fall into these things really quickly. That is okay. But it's when, especially if either one of you are holding back and you're not seeing each other's true selves, that's when it gets complicated, because it all comes out and one of you might go, oh shit, this isn't what I want and I'm in too deep and I don't know how to get out of it in a fucking mature, responsible way.
Yeah. I saw a quote on Instagram that I really liked about this kind of thing. You know, like Instagram just throws you the exact right things at the right moment, because it
my god, yes, knows. I had that today. I had a post today and I was like, oh shit.
Deep, man. So it said, you don't need to be so hard on yourself for the relationships that didn't work out. Not every connection is meant to last a lifetime. Some are lessons, some are fleeting moments, and each one adds to the rich tapestry of our life story. It's okay to cherish the memories and move on with hope and openness. And I think the hope and openness is like the biggest takeaway for me. That's like, don't close yourself off just because someone hurt you again.
Yes.
And like someone wasn't careful with your heart, you know?
Yeah. Fucking hell. And you know what? I'm putting a bet on right now. I bet you in however long he's going to come crawling back. When he realizes the error of his ways, and obviously at that point, you will have moved on and it will hit him later. Generally speaking, this is an absolute massive generalization. women tend to get over things quicker because we can process our emotions, we cry, we talk to our friends. Men, generally speaking, don't. It hits them way later down the line. They can go into avoidance mode, fuck a bunch of people, and then it's only like 6 months later, a year later, a few years later, then they're like, oh shit, I really fucked up a good thing there. Wow. I see that pattern constantly.
I blocked him, so he ain't coming back, man.
Yeah, good, because temptation is not okay. It is not okay to be tempted.
I said to myself, I was like, I cannot see someone looking at my stories, even if he unfollowed me. But I'm like, even if he was stalking and I saw him in my stories, like, I just cannot see that.
Yeah.
And I don't want him to be a part of the beautiful life that I lead. You know, like, I don't need him to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. He chose to step out, and that's on him.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man. We need a deep breath after that. Deep breath in.
Yeah, let's all do it all at once.
Hold it. Deep breath out.
I am feeling very emotional about this. I thought I was going to cry when talking about this, but I kept it together.
Yeah. But we don't want to keep it together. You need to cry, man. You need to fucking let it all out.
Yeah, I've been on and off. It's one of those ones that's going to just hit me at random points, I think.
Yeah.
But it's mainly not about him at this point. I think it was too short to really feel like devastated over him or anything. It's more so like just I feel upset that someone hurt me again. And I let it happen.
Like you were, like fooled, exclamation marks.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a very natural feeling to feel in this situation. And I think a lot of us do that whenever we go through some kind of heartbreak or difficulty in a relationship. Like, it can make us feel like it's our fault.
Kind of whirlwind things that happen so quickly and end so quickly just make you feel like, wow, like, was I that stupid to believe in that if it was going to end so early? But it's not stupid, and it happens to a lot of us.
Definitely not.
It happens way too often. From the amount of messages that I've got from people, it happens way too often. And I'm like, who are these fucking people? I just don't understand this behavior.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hard part. Is like, who are you to act like that?
Yeah, not easy. We're going to get you through it, girl. And there will be the most perfect person out there for you. They are there. They are walking around living now.
Find that hard to believe sometimes, but I am keeping the hope out there.
You have to keep the hope.
I looked up at the blue moon last night and I said, I'm ready to meet my soulmate, you know? Because it said apparently that it was a good moon for manifestation. I was like, I'm not fucking around with like, you know, I want a passenger princess. I want this. I want that. I'm like, no, give me my fucking soulmate.
Yeah. Yeah. You need and deserve somebody who is going to love you equally back and not do something shitty like this and actually communicate and want fucking check-ins. Like, what the hell?
If that's you, if you're my soulmate, get in touch. Slide into the DMs.
Slide into Florence's DMs, please. I think that's what we both need to do. We both just need to fall in love with like podcast fans who actually know our shit, understand our values, believe in what we say. Yeah.
But anyway, sorry for dampening the mood, curious fuckers. I know it was quite heavy, and I felt like I had to tell the whole story.
It needed to be said
for it as well. Like, it couldn't just be like, this happened. It had to be like, you need to know.
You need to feel what I went through to really get this.
Yeah.
If anyone else listening to this episode has gone through something similar that Florence has gone through, please feel free to tell us your story. Obviously try and condense it as much as possible. So if we repost it or if we talk about it on the podcast, then it's easier rather than cutting out information. But yeah, tell us this now, like write in one of the, like in the comments, if you want to share it for everyone, write in the comments, or at least just gives us a little like thumbs up. Like, yeah, I'm with you. I know how this feels. This sucks.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Like, thanks for my listening, coming to my TED talk about whirlwind romances.
Shit. The next episode we put on will
be way more fun.
Yeah.
I'll be over it by then, because you know, like when people say that you'll be over it in like half the time that the relationship lasted. So this one only lasted up to 3 weeks. So I'll be good as new soon.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I like that optimistic look. Yeah, if you have liked this episode, please share it. If anyone else has dealt with the same situation, send it to that person, because it might make them feel a little bit more heard and felt and understood. And that can be really powerful. And of course, if you want to keep up to date with all of our shenanigans, please follow our Instagram @ComeCurious and our personal accounts, ReadAmberX and Florence Bark.
And make sure you leave us a rating and a review, because it helps get this podcast into more people's ears.
And of course, on that very cheery note, we will see you next Thursday.
Oh my God, see you next Thursday, Curious Buggers. Bye.
Oh, sign up to our Patreon. That will make Florence happier.
Yeah, give me some money.
Give me, or in the meantime, you can see sad hot girl OnlyFans content. That will help.
Yeah,
that will help. Buy some customs.
Yeah, please get on over to the OnlyFans. My OnlyFans popping off, man. So
it's popping off, man. It's fucking popping off. Get it, girl. Get it. Amazing. We love you all so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.